everybody. Welcome to 90 Day Fiancé Cray Cray. I'm Kim.
And I'm Kyle, and I'm very...
Hey, shut up and eat your dick soup, Kyle.
I'm sorry. Do you not like me?
Sorry, what were you saying?
I was going to say I'm Kyle, and I'm very young and attractive.
Somebody might try to kidnap you.
Scoop-a-loop-a-doop-doop-poop.
I looked up. I made the mistake.
Skeet. What the fuck?
Scootily Dickens. Scootily poopin' is a term popularized or coined.
Mormon butt sex?
That's what I thought. I'm like, are we sure that Steven's a virgin? Because if he was scootily pooping, I'm not sure he actually did have sex. Because I'm not sure he knows what that is.
God.
So this was coined by John Green, I think his name is. This
is a real word. This isn't just like a garbledygook that he made up.
It is garbledygook, but somebody made up, but not Steven. He is a young adult novelist that wrote Paper Towns, which was made into like a young adult romance movie in 2015. And it is in the Urban Dictionary. Not a real dictionary, but kind of.
I feel uncomfortable now.
I do too. I'm like... What are these young kids doing?
Don't say young adult romance anymore.
I'm just repeating the internet.
Yeah.
Scootily pooping. I was disgusted. It is absolutely Mormon butt sex, though.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we just finished watching the episode, and our heads are spinning.
If you're a Patreon member, you know that we just launched the second half of last week's episode. Yeah. So we've been going for a few hours now, and now we have a whole episode. We're running a little empty. Kyle's been on a plane for how many miles? We calculate in miles now as opposed to hours.
Yeah, 1,400, I guess. What the fuck? So stupid.
It makes no sense. I want to get your high-level thoughts on the episode, Kyle.
I was entertained and enraged several times.
What was the most enraging scene for you?
Evelyn.
Oh.
Far and away.
Yeah, her ganging up on her husband.
Yeah.
You can call him that now.
The mean girl bullying I thought was really gross. Evelyn is the definition of not ride or die. And I think at a certain point, you're not going to be able to blame the producers.
Nope.
When it's just it's too far for. I mean, not for me. It was entertaining. I don't fucking care about Corey. He's so annoying. He's so extra. But that doesn't mean that she married him, and she's sitting there laughing at him. Yeah. And he's being bullied on TV. Whether it's the sisters or production doesn't really matter, right? She went along with it. She tacitly consented to make an ass out of him. Yeah.
And it continues next week with Raul, we see on the next time on.
It's just gross. So I was really angry about that. She sucks. But I will say, I think that we need to kind of revisit our conversation from an hour ago, because we were talking about, does your perspective on Corey change a little bit if he was married? And we got confirmation that he definitely was. And
this is the big question about them this week. And the sisters even kind of bring this up. They're like, well, even though you decided to take a break, you were married. And does that change how we feel about it?
Yeah. And I think it kind of does, not necessarily from a morality perspective for me, because I think it still depends on the kind of nature of that conversation. But I mean, at the end of the day, the reason I say that is because Evelyn is the one that wants to take a break, essentially kicks him out. I'm sure she did. I'm sure she kicked him out of the house. Yeah. And then he leaves. And so morally, I don't really see an issue that bad, but I think it was very stupid of him. Mm-hmm. Very stupid. And I just wonder if he did it as a preemptive strike because he just assumed Evelyn would go bang someone the next day too. I don't know.
Even though You went to Peru trying to stick your dick in some Peruvians, so now you going to eat that dick all the way till the end of the freaking plate.
Yeah, that's healthy working through problems right there. That's just...
Wow.
I'm sure your couples counselor would tell you to say the same thing. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I feel like...
But I forgive you.
Oh, yeah, kind of. I'm going to hold it over your head for the rest
of
your life.
Eat the bull penis, but I forgive you either way, you know.
I feel like 80% of this episode was Steven and Alina.
Yeah, and I hate him.
You do, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he is... The word gaslighting is probably too strong. Maybe we'll discuss it, but I feel like he is trying to make her feel crazy.
He's too stupid to be a gaslighter.
Right. Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a dumb person.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He speaks pretty good Russian.
Well, he's very enthusiastic. One thing that I do appreciate about him is his enthusiasm to learn languages and try to... I mean, he's even trying to learn a little bit of Turkish in the cab. And
saying
I
thank you in
cool.
Turkish, I can attest, is very difficult.
That did not seem like an easy word.
It is really hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't decide, and we'll dig into this for honestly probably a lot, but of this episode. But I have to say that I did spend a lot of time, more than I would like to admit, this morning reading reviews on Hostel World of the Roll Street Hostel, where he was going to stay. And I can say it is mostly 18 to 30 females staying there.
And it looked like
good party scene.
It looked like the entire courtyard was set up for socializing.
Absolutely. And look, this is exactly the kind of place I would have wanted to seek out when I was traveling as a 20-something.
It looks cute, a little quirky, and
looks like there's going to be hot young dudes there. Like, that's honestly, like, that's what you read the reviews when you're in your 20s and you're like, where's the party? That's
is it a money? See, the thing is, I just the entire concept of a hostel, he's never made it out to be about money.
Yeah.
It's never been about that. It's almost like in his mind, he thought it was a gesture of goodwill to say, well, I'm staying somewhere shitty and you have the nice apartment. I wonder if that's where his head was at. Like, trying to take the best possible view here, obviously.
Yeah. Like, let's assume for a second that Steven is genuine. I guess so. I didn't even look at how much it was because I just assumed it was like one of the cheapest places to stay. But you'd have to think during a pandemic, there are deals to be had.
Absolutely.
They could even have, like, instead of getting her an apartment, why didn't they just get like but side-by-side hotel rooms? I
would guess his response would be, well, the temptation's just on the other side of the wall.
Are they not going to hang out during the day in the apartment? Right.
And then he's like, well, look how close it is. You can walk right there. Okay, so is your temptation, like, what's the distance where temptation no longer becomes a problem?
A quarter mile?
Yeah.
A half mile?
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I know. One more thing that I'll say is that, like, I'm really enjoying the B-roll. There was season.
A significant amount more B-roll this episode.
I feel like it's because they don't have a lot of content.
That's the obvious, thing that I thought.
It's better than the Sandy Butt B-roll we got during Caribbean Love. I mean, we got fisherman in Ecuador, like, mending the nets. I thought that was really interesting. I love the Turkish, like, pottery workers putting the detail on the ceramics. And there was one, I can't remember if it was this week or last week, of the bakers in Ethiopia, like, balling up the dough and throwing it in that cavernous, like, oven.
India, still a hellhole.
Seriously. Still just cows eating dogs and vice versa.
Basically Providencia with monkeys. like destroyed Providencia. Like, what the fuck are they doing to India on this show?
It's so wrong.
Since you're listening to this show, I think it's safe to say that you love listening to podcasts, right? Well, you'll find a ton of binge-worthy podcasts, including ours, on Amazon Music. Amazon Music has more than 10 million free podcast episodes to listen to. But Amazon Music isn't just for listening to podcasts. They have thousands of music stations and top playlists to stream for free. And no matter what you're listening to, you can go hands-free with Alexa. If you're like me and you want your music on demand and ad-free, you have to try Amazon Music Unlimited. That gives you unlimited unlimited access to over 75 million songs, as well as podcasts, music, videos, and more. With Amazon Music Unlimited, you can listen to any song, anywhere, offline, with unlimited skips. I listen to a lot of reality TV podcasts, and I really like listening to Reality Gaze with my wife when we're cooking at night or when the kids asleep. We use Alexa to find stations that we like, and it's pretty awesome. If you've never tried Amazon Music Unlimited, now's a great time. For a limited time, new customers can try Amazon Music Unlimited free for 30 days. No credit card required. Just go to amazon.com/cray-cray. That's amazon.com/cray-cray to try Amazon Music Unlimited free for 30 days. Amazon.com/cray-cray. Renews automatically. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
We see a lot of questionable information having to do with fertility and having babies on these reality shows. There's so much about fertility that's a complete mystery to most of us. That's where a modern fertility hormone test comes in. Think of your fertility hormones as tiny detectives. They can bring you tons of insight into your egg count, reproductive timeline, and even possible outcomes for egg freezing and IVF. Modern fertility was created as an easy and affordable way to test your fertility hormones at home with a simple finger prick. Mail it in with a prepaid label and you'll get your personalized results within 10 days. Traditional testing with your doctor can cost over $1,000, but with modern fertility, it costs only $159 to get the same information. And if you go to modernfertility.com/cray-cray, you can get $20 off your test. Also, everyone, it's the beginning of the year, so your HSA or FSA was probably just topped off, and you can use those dollars on modern fertility. You'll get insight into how many eggs you have, hormone levels, and other important fertility factors. The results go deep into what every hormone means, and you can also talk one-on-one with a fertility nurse to review your results and options for next steps. You'll also feel really smart the next time that anything about fertility or pregnancy comes up in 90 Day Fiancé, and you'll know exactly where they're going wrong. If you want kids today, or maybe just one day in the future, you need information to make that decision that's best for you. Right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/cray-cray. That means your test will cost $139 instead of the hundreds or thousands it could cost at your doctor's office. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/cray-cray. That's modernfertility.com/cray-cray. Who do you want to start with? Who are we starting with?
Do you want to go in show order?
Yeah, so let's do Corey and Evelyn first. Are they like trying to do like a Molly and Luis like shocking moment with the marriage? Remember when that was like probably one of the most iconic shocking moments of 90 Day history, I think, of like Molly admitting to production in her kitchen like we're already married and now he's fucking gone.
That was pretty. That was crazy because we had already seen their breakup. And production didn't know. Clearly production knew here.
Yeah, that's true.
And the rumors have been flying around forever. You know, I honestly don't know if they were actually based on anything except guessing.
Yeah. I mean, people admitted, they were like, well, we noticed he was still in the country. Yeah. And, you know.
But I think a lot of people maybe countered with, well, COVID, you know, who knows what the visa extension situation is. But so we start off right after she drops the bombshell from last episode, and the sisters, they're betrayed. They're so betrayed.
They call her Mrs. Stupid, and I fucking
Mrs.
die.
Stupido.
Mrs. Stupido. Senora Estúpida, they called her. Senora Estúpida.
In the footage they showed of this ceremony, like, Corey didn't even tuck in his shirt.
He can barely say the words in Spanish. I'm sorry. I thought this whole thing was freaking hilarious.
Bad, dude.
He could have just left the country, says Leslie. I'm like, yeah, he could have.
Yes.
Evelyn's sisters are like, he just should have left. They hate him.
Gone away.
But can we stop like calling Peruvian women hookers?
It's gross. Or anyone that he slept with. I mean, the story that Corey told, I'm sure, was basically like, I'm getting a divorce.
Yeah.
Or my wife and I are separated. So
yeah,
unless you have
not untrue.
Unless you have like very puritanical views about marriage generally. And that's why I was saying earlier, like, it really depends on how that conversation went, if I feel like this was ethically weird or not. But in terms of how he presented it to Jenny, I'm sure he left out like 95% of the details, you know?
And even though this was a legal marriage, I mean, I don't even know, did she incriminate herself by like admitting that she only married him because his visa was expiring? Like, she says that on camera. I'm like, this seems not good to admit on camera. And she's like, well, there was no other way for him to stay in the country with me, and our relationship was in a good place.
I guess I don't know what the laws are like in Ecuador, but I mean, we see people admit that shit all the time.
That's true.
On 90 Day in the U.S.
Yeah.
I think it was funny that she basically admits that she only married him because in the back of her mind, well, we can just get divorced tomorrow. No big deal.
If she didn't tell her family, she's like, that's why we didn't tell my family, because we can just basically get divorced as quietly as we got married.
So in a way, they're not married.
That's what I think.
They're literally married on paper, and that's it.
Thank you. I think so too. I'm like, they're not married. She said she needed her space. And, you know, and then he's like, all right. And so peace out. I guess I'm leaving. And I think he thinks that they were broken up. I mean, they're married, but for me, it's just a piece of paper. They didn't really make a commitment to each other and get married.
I know.
That's the way Evelyn explained it. That's not me like projecting. That's basically what she told her sisters.
Because she says if the family knew she got divorced, it would be a huge deal.
Yeah. But
I mean, they would find out eventually, because if she ever did get remarried, you have to bring documentation. Maybe she could hide that, like, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's I don't really get it. I mean, her family's going to be equally as pissed that she didn't tell them.
It's on TV now, so they're going to find out. God.
By the way, did it shock you to your core when her sisters, Lipsy and Leslie, just started like speaking perfect English to Corey?
A little bit, but I
was like, what?
Yes, but I appreciate that they speak Spanish to each other.
Yes,
but it is funny that they just completely ignore Corey, that Corey's there at like that family dinner. I feel like they were only speaking Spanish at that family dinner.
Always,
right?
Yeah. Well, which they should.
I mean, it makes sense.
There's 10 people there and 9 of them speak Spanish.
It's Corey's fault he doesn't speak Spanish at this point. It is his fault. It's his fault now.
I'm sorry. He has lived in Ecuador for over a year. It is absolutely his fault.
They've been together like for 10 years now.
Yeah. And well, I mean, and they speak English together. It's very hard to like switch languages with your significant other, like at that point. But he should be going to like the barber shop or the equivalent in freaking Pigtown every day and like talking with somebody like all day long.
Hanging out with the fishnet maker.
You have nothing else to do, dude. Go do it.
He runs a bar.
I forgot.
And I don't think a lot of Americans are hanging out there.
I don't know. He needs to figure it out. And he needs to just like bite the bullet and just practice speaking all freaking day. Anyway,
Miss
Corey,
Stupid.
Let's talk about this stupid sneak attack. So Corey and Evelyn go have lunch with her sisters.
Why are they eating? I mean, at first I was thinking, why are they eating inside of a fish market? It probably smells horrific.
Oh, but you know how good that
But then that crab soup
is.
Comes out.
It's probably incredible.
Even the dick soup looked good.
They called it tronquito, which like, I don't know. Spanish speakers tell me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like tronquito is like what I would see in like a children's book for like an elephant trunk. Like a tronquito.
Well, it's a bull dick. It's probably enormous.
Yeah. But apparently it's dick soup as well. So Corey has no idea why the sisters want to talk to him, so he doesn't have any guard up. Evelyn didn't give him any heads up.
Yeah,
he's being led into a trap.
Again, opposite of ride or die.
Would you ever do this to your significant other?
No!
Like, so mean.
What the fuck?
Leslie orders for Corey, which again, Corey, learn some goddamn Spanish. So you
probably
don't get dick soup.
He probably wouldn't know what it meant, but he would at least know it's something.
Not what they're eating. Did he not question, like, why are the three of you eating something different than me?
I would, well, for one thing, this is Corey just being like kind of a wimp, to be honest. If this wasn't set up. Because if anyone ordered for me, I would flag that waiter down and say, I'm not fucking eating that. This is what I want. I'm not a fucking 3-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't care how much you want to look nice to this. They look like they're like 19, maybe.
Yeah, they do look very young.
So what the fuck are you doing ordering for me? Just give me what they're having. Like, absolutely
it would be
not.
one thing if she were like, we're all going to have, like, if there was like one specialty and they were all there, they all had the same thing, like, yeah, we'll have 4 of those. That would be one thing. But to order something separate for one person is like a red flag.
It's so crazy that he allowed that to happen that a part of me feels like this entire scene is fraud.
Maybe.
I just can't imagine a world where my little sister-in-law orders for me and I would just be like, okay with it. So, yeah, he's trying to say this should be private. She just says, answer the questions. And he says what he said the whole time. But again, keep in mind, I'm not trying to say I have a ton of sympathy for Corey because he's still lying. Remember, like
that is true.
He fucked her a lot.
That is true. Well, we suspect, that he did bang her a lot.
The only thing that the sisters could have done to be more mean is say, this will make it so you're not soft anymore.
Oh, shit.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking they were going to go there.
That would be brutal. And it would be funny only because we think it's a lie on Corey's part, right?
Yeah.
I mean, also, again, I know I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I never once asked Corey, go try with every freaking hooker in Peru. He hooked up with one woman who was not a hooker. And like, can we stop saying the word hooker?
Yes.
And can we stop calling women hookers who are just random, perfectly nice women who want to have sex with somebody they find attractive?
How are you any different other than he was sort of I don't know. But when Evelyn's like, people with a broken heart just don't go hunt for women. I was thinking,
they do.
Literally everyone does that.
That's literally exactly what you do.
You've never heard of a rebound? Like, yes, I'm sure that very often when someone gets dumped, they're like you're crushed and depressed and like that's the last thing on your mind. But there are also times when it's fuck time. It's going to hump town.
Hence the phrase.
Scuba loopa doopa doopy poop all over the beach.
Hence the phrase. It's the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else, which we've all heard.
Scoopy loop doop doop.
Scoopity dickin'. Scoopity butthole.
Whatever.
Yeah. So Leslie threatens to kill Corey if he ever hurts Evelyn again.
Good times.
You went to Peru trying to stick your dick in some Peruvians. So now you're going to eat that dick all the way to the end of the fucking plate.
It looked like he ate a lot of it.
It did.
They didn't have one bite of their soup.
Absolutely not, which is a crime. Because, all right, should we move on?
Yeah.
I want to get into Steven and Alina. This is a massive part of the
like 5
episode.
scenes.
Yeah. I could talk about this, honestly, for the whole 2 hours, I think.
The first words that Steven says, I have 90 days to marry Alina in Turkey so I can move to Russia. What the fuck are you talking about? We
literally made that up.
We need a Turkish cray-cray to be like, what the fuck is this?
Why would Turkey have rules about Americans and Russians that want to meet in their country and how long they have to stay in the country until they get married in Russia? This makes absolutely no fucking sense.
Maybe
it's literally a 90-day tourist visa for Turkey.
They have a 90-day tourist visa.
Yeah. I think that's why they're saying they have 90 days because the standard tourist visa for Turkey is 90 days. By the way, a lot of Russians vacation in Turkey. When I was in Antalya, which is I think where they are, I saw like no Americans. I saw like only Russians. They were everywhere.
And they kind of hint at this at the preview for the next episode, but they don't have 90 days. If they want this plan to work, they need to get married and then apply for the equivalent of a K1 in Russia, which is not going to just happen in one day. And so in the next episode preview, they go to a lawyer and it looks like he's like, yeah, you need to get married now, dude.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to boot your ass.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it would mostly be inconvenient because the worst that could happen is they get married in Turkey. They apply for the K1 equivalent, and then they may just have to go back. He might just have to go back to America before he can go to Russia.
Which, again, Alina is 20 years old.
I know.
What's the rush? I guess because they want to go scootily pooping. Right?
I mean, if we're going off the literal definition, in theory, they could do that now.
Oh my God. Okay.
Dude, all right. Well,
okay, these two people, Kyle.
Steven's fucking annoying with his selfies and just.
How many times? You look so cute. You look so cute. You look. I bet that he says this to every woman. We all know this guy. He says this to every girl he ever sees, every friend that's a girl. He's always like, "Oh, you look so good. He flatters everybody the same way." I'm calling it.
He probably feels like he can't say, "Them titties look good. Show me that butthole." He's probably not there yet. So he has no he has remarkably little game.
I bet he has game. I'm here to say it. Tell me if you disagree with me. It's not something that I find attractive.
It's like a dorky game.
Yeah, I have seen this guy. I have seen the Stevens of the world in hostels and like traveling types of situations where I'm like, they get laid a lot more than you might think.
I could see them being perceived as safe.
Because they are the attention getters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people perceive them as harmless and very sweet, which I mean, he probably is harmless, right? I mean, aside from his fucking narrative about like, I just can't control my skittily doopin' penis. You know what I mean? Because I'm
just 2 steps from being a serial rapist.
This is literally the line that rapists have used for millennia. Just can't control my urges. Like that is like such a red. That is don't say that.
The only thing preventing you from assaulting Alina right now is
what?
Joseph Smith, I guess.
Baffling that he says this over and over again.
It's like really insulting to men generally. I feel like.
I was going to ask you. Like,
I think it's fucked.
I mean.
But then again, I've never tried to like not have sex. But
I mean, have you ever been in a room where you're attracted to a girl and managed not to assault her?
It's happened frequently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you're just a better man than Steven, I guess.
And I think we've talked about this before. I really appreciated that Alina she went there. She was like, isn't the point of faith and like holding back to prove that you like, why is it even a trial?
Yeah.
If we just separate from each other. If he lopped his dick off tomorrow, does that make him a holy man now?
I thought Alina really like defended herself so well this entire episode, and especially because she is like 5 years younger than Steven, which I think is one of the reasons that he kind of chose her, was because she's so young and impressionable. But she I thought that was very astute of her to be like, how is it even like a test? You need to be able to test your faith. You need to be able to challenge it. And if you can't even be in the same room as me, like what kind of a faith is that?
What he's not telling her is that he's already tested his faith and failed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe that explains why he's so hardcore about this.
Yeah.
Maybe he does know himself. But then how are you improving and becoming more pious over time?
The one thing
you're just the same sinner in like following the logic here. You're just as much a sinner. So why do you feel like good about yourself by separating? You need to shouldn't he want to prove that he's better than he was?
You would think. Alina
I mean, I just think he's not. It doesn't mean he's a bad person. You guys know how I feel about this. But
I also kind of feel like Alina's mom, I really liked what she said in the cab on the way to the airport in Russia about Steven being selfish by not staying with Alina because he's putting his religion before her needs. This was a tough one because I'm like, oh, that's a good, I mean, we want, obviously, if assuming Steven's faith is genuine, you know, and he really, that's his
it's hard
real
to believe it's not.
Yeah. I mean, he's not supposed to live with a woman that he's not married to. And so if we accept that, but then also accept that Alina feels uncomfortable staying by herself, which I don't think she does. I think this damsel in distress act that she's putting on is because her real fear is that Steven's going to be away from her and he's going to go bang somebody.
These two are too young to get married.
They seem like middle schoolers.
Both of their behavior
Pre-teens.
are ridiculous, like middle school shit. Like first relationship mistakes are being made left and right. Alina having her friend try to hit on him, that's shit that you do when you're 13. And to be fair,
I think a lot of people.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't do that. If you have to do that, don't date that person. And if you do that for no reason, seek therapy.
But it's more the way that they act around each other.
So
awkward and giggly and she seems so hoo 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 hoo, they want to get a first kiss. Cannot watch them make out.
Steven's wearing loose pants because he's chubbed the entire fucking time. Like the second he picks her up from the airport,
hugs her in a towel, wet after a shower.
Because he's quirky. And
that's not quirky. That's fucking creepy.
Funny. I'm gonna jump in the pool. Look at me, how crazy I am, huh? I like Rick and Morty
because he was hot and bothered and he needed to cool off.
I know, right?
I seriously think he had a huge boner and he was like, this pool is my saving grace, and just jumped in.
I love the mom. The mom said something. It's so amazingly Eastern European when she's like, I am filled with infinite anxiety. That's that meme that people send me every fucking day of my life about the Polish guy who says child must not be obstacle.
That meme is hilarious.
It is.
To be fair,
it was hilarious. The 70,000th time I saw it.
People don't know that you've seen it though.
I'm
gonna send it to you later.
Infinite anxiety about relationship.
It's so funny. The worry about human trafficking, my boy. Alina,
you got human trafficked in this beautiful apartment, my boy.
Alina, deadpanning in the camera, I am young and attractive, and someone will steal me.
Boy,
so funny.
You ever heard of scooping a dooping a poop, my boy?
She literally sees people from the fucking cab at night and is like, those people are suspicious. They're going to steal me.
It seems a little racist.
I was like, what is going on?
He's like, those are cops.
I was like, can we get a camera view of the people she's pointing at? I want to make my own assessment.
They're just guys walking to get a candy bar at the store.
They're like, just a late night run for some cigarettes, lady. We're not really interested in stealing you.
You know, of all the things that made me hate Steven this episode, what do you think my number one is?
Let me consider this very carefully. We already talked about the wet towel. We talked about jumping in the pool. You appreciate his love of languages. Was it when he manipulated her and made her feel like her commitment of being baptized was, in question?
That was bad, but no. The thing that made me the most angry at Steven this entire episode was when he dropped his bags in the middle of an automatic opening door, and these poor Asian people are standing there just waiting around while he's making out with her on camera, and people are like stepping around his bags, and the doors keep opening and closing on his bags that he's dropped.
Let me tell you,
this was like almost as bad as Tania's like flower thing with the janitor. Like, boss says it's no good.
People were so mad about the rose petals at JFK. Oh my God, that was so bad.
Boss says
this
no.
This was infuriating. He like dropped right outside the sliding doors at Customs. He drops his 2 giant bags and just like runs into her. But when he finally goes to get him, how many people are like waiting to get through the door?
I mean, this has the largest measurable negative impact on society right here, okay?
It really did.
You're interrupting commerce, sir.
I also was really annoyed when they were like going. First off, this annoyed me. Oh my God, Steven did so many things that made me so angry. In the taxi, he promises, she's like, I'm really worried. It's dark out already. We're arriving late at night. I don't want to stay by myself the first night. And he's like, okay, I'll sleep on the couch. He agrees in the cab. I will sleep on the couch.
And he says he agreed previously that would happen.
Yeah.
Too.
But when he gets there, he reneges. He's like immediately like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the hostel now. And she's like, no, you promised. And he's like, well, how do you expect me to control myself?
I'm just so hard.
What?
Sorry.
Go take a shower, dude.
Go read the Bible in Russian. It seemed to work.
It did. He's just like, I find Steven.
One more.
Ugh,
One more.
Gross.
One more. We're without our moms.
They have never been alone, Kyle.
Ever.
They have never been alone. They've always had a chaperone.
And I think that explains a little bit why they're so annoying, because they don't know how to fucking speak to each other.
That's true.
But they shouldn't get married.
Nope. Sure shouldn't.
When they walk in the apartment, I mean, this is a cute apartment. He walks in and he's like, oh my God, the rest of our lives together. I'm just like, you're going to be in this apartment like a week. What are you fucking talking about?
90
Shut
days,
up.
Kyle. 90 fake days.
This is the rest of our lives together.
He also like asked to hold her bag, like her purse, like when they leave the hostel. He's like, do you need me to hold your bag for you? And she's like, no,
What?
it's my fucking purse.
It's a purse.
It's like Steven being the fake nice guy. And I hate this act.
bullshit.
I hate it. He's trying to be Pole. I just don't understand how Alina's like so obsessed with him. It's really baffling.
I mean, is he going to ask her for a fucking STD test next?
Probably. Although she should be the one asking him for his scootily doopin' poopin' test to make sure hasn't been doing that. Okay, let's dig into scootily poopin'.
Like, what do you mean by that?
What do we mean by that? Penetration.
Now I'm frightened.
The penetration of what? To what is the question. It's so funny when they're like in the ITM and he's like, that's being intimate. She's like, yep, got it. He's like, penetration. She's like, yep.
Oh God, I just typed in like the first 3 letters and it's a top auto on Google. Like,
well, probably now that like 1 million people have Googled it in the past hour because of freaking toe.
So on Urban Dictionary, it just says making out.
Oh, really? I saw an Urban Dictionary that said,
that's the top rated answer.
Oh, interesting. All right, well, they are scootily pooping then.
But other answers are like, it's sex.
Okay. Does it say anything about the effect of a Mormon book of Russian scriptures on scootily pooping?
I don't know yet.
Hey, Kyle, do you want me to tuck you in? And now that we're done reading our scriptures.
Like, I love that the only thing that they show, maybe they were reading for like an hour, but the only thing that they show him is basically, if you've heard of the Book of Mormon and you're not a Mormon, you're a fucking idiot. Those words mean a lot to me. Okay.
Thank you.
All right? There's a deep moral lesson there. It means so much.
I imagine the first night in Turkey differently. You think, Alina?
Yeah, maybe. All right, let's talk Ari.
Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
We're
going to read more scoodly pooping?
So many more notes. But you're right. We need to move on. But like the fact that he jumped in the pool and then tried to hug her in her nice fancy dress, I was so pissed at him. And also, like, Alina makes a great point that if he can't control himself around her, how can he control himself around other girls in the hostel? Because she recognizes, she's like, Steven wants to be the center of attention. That's just his jam. So like he's going to flirt with the other girls. And it's totally fair for her. I can't even remember if she says that directly to Steven or just in her ITM. But it's kind of bullshit.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football is back. And the best bet you can make is downloading the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It doesn't matter if you're new to gambling or an old pro, FanDuel has something for everyone. And as an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you know your bets are safe. There's also never been a better time to use FanDuel, because right now, you'll get up to $1,000 back if your first bet doesn't win. You can even turn a small wager into a big payday with a same-game parlay bet. Just sign up with the promo code Spotify to place your first bet risk-free on FanDuel Sportsbook. Download FanDuel today. 21 plus and present in Virginia. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The Fall Line is a true crime podcast covering the coldest cases in the southeastern United States and occasionally beyond. We focus on the missing persons, the unsolved murders, and the unidentified does that don't get media attention. Empathetic and intensively researched, The Fall Line will take you on deep dives into unsolved cases that you've never heard of and make you wonder why you haven't. Find us wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right. We moving on to Ari.
Overall, I think at the end of this episode, my feelings on this are I still hate Ari for this.
Yeah.
But I do think that Binyam is being a little bit over the top with like his like little celebratory dance when he leaves.
Oh, yeah. He's putting it on, which is fine.
I
It's
thought
TV.
that Leandro was a pretty decent house guest.
Yeah. I think he was respectful.
And
I mean, cleanliness and stuff.
he was there for what, like 2.5 episodes? And we didn't get a ton of, I mean, he didn't do anything weird other than just being there.
Yeah.
Like, by definition. But we only saw a few minutes of his visit. Just thinking like in grand total, we probably got 20 minutes of Leandro, and 10 of it was Binyam beating the shit out of him. And so, I mean, you know that they filmed every second of this week.
That's
they
true.
Didn't
That's all they could get.
They didn't get a ton of content. And so I thought, was a good guest. And he was very diplomatic when he was leaving. He said, I'm going to miss the most. It's Avi. Ha hee hee.
Yeah.
And he's not like all up on Ari's business like she is on him, like with that weird hug. Not weird, but just, read the room.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is still Ari's fault, but I don't think it could have gone much better. You know what I mean?
It occurred to me, like the very last conversation that Ari and Benny have, where she's like, she mentions too that during this coffee date with Leandro that Benny doesn't know how to be a husband. And what she means by that is that we're still not addressing the main issue. The main issue here is that Ari's pissed that Benny keeps going out multiple nights a week and staying out all night with his friends during a pandemic, and with her having, like, they have a very small child. And she's like,
so what's the mature thing
about this?
What's the mature thing
Invite
to do,
your
Kim?
ex-husband to come stay with you.
That yes.
Yes.
There you go.
But I think like they still haven't talked about that, and that's like that is the root of everything.
That's like
she's trying to get back at him.
It's like the Family Feud top answer. Like, all right, family cray cray. What do you do if your husband's not communicating?
Invite your ex-husband to come stay with you for at least 2 weeks in a foreign country.
Ding ding ding! 80 people said that. There you go.
By the way, there was a more to love scene, like a bonus scene from last week where Biniam, I know everybody's team Biniam, and so nobody's going to like to hear me say this, but Biniam has done some shit too, you guys. Like, can we go back to this Sion conversation, his ex-girlfriend / dance partner and his other American ex-wife? Because he apparently called Sion to invite her to the wedding with his ex-wife, the other American woman. And Sion is like,
did the wife consent to that?
I don't know. But Sion was like, yeah, it was pretty painful because like, I didn't know you had broken up with me. And
okay.
I thought you were my person. And then all of a sudden you were inviting me to a wedding with another woman.
I thought you were talking. Yeah, I forgot about that. I almost thought you were talking about it from the perspective of it was messed up to do that to his ex-wife.
Well, that's also weird.
I forgot that she didn't even fucking know.
No.
Sion, yeah.
No. And Benny's kind of like smirking / smiling when Sion is talking about this. So that might be out of like nervousness, but I just want to point out like Benny has done some shit too, okay?
Yeah. He's kind of a dope.
He is. And I really do think though that these two are like, I don't know. I kind of think like they're going to make it. They seem super into each other at the end. I mean, skeptical.
I don't know. But we know, I mean, spoiler, I think we know that they're still together now.
Yeah. Can we talk about Ari's outfit? These like knee-high black socks with the soccer shoes and the yellow frilly dress?
I didn't notice the sock.
I
didn't notice the sock situation.
They were like over the knee black socks with this yellow frilly dress. It was very strange.
It's like anime character look, or I don't know.
Look, that's a choice. I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah. I love that she's the worst thing that she said this entire episode that just made me like, oh my God, dude, is seeing you this time. It's sunk in that we're not going to end up together in the end. What?
Leandra's like, I kind of figured when I was banging you and you were like 5 months pregnant that we probably wouldn't end up together.
I kind of, well, when you told me you were seeing someone else and you were pregnant, it kind of sunk in. So you still thought there was a chance until a week ago, is what you're saying.
So fucked up.
What the fuck, dude?
Especially since Ari's whole like thing that
we're just friends.
He's just my best friend. He's coming to visit me. He's just my best friend. I'm like, you just contradicted yourself because now you're telling him you were actually trying to explore if you should get back together with this person.
Yes.
And the whole thing we learned too is that they broke up because he didn't want to have kids.
It was one of the contributing factors, it seems like, but who knows? Well, he was pursuing his PhD. Who wants to have kids then?
I mean, who can be married if they're pursuing a PhD?
You say, touche.
It's too hard.
So, yeah, I mean, dude, the only thing that Leandro says to her is, he very diplomatically doesn't say that you and Benny are going to get divorced. He says, I just don't know if you're going to be happy here because what are you going to do?
It's a fair point.
Yeah.
I mean, right now she's a really young kid and that's a full-time job.
And mommy and daddy are paying the bills.
Right. But like once you have to support yourself.
It's not a full-time job necessarily when mommy or daddy are paying for a live-in nanny.
That's true. Everybody keeps talking about the nanny. And can I just like make one point that I've made several times, but nobody seems to be listening? I think that this was Benny's decision because I don't think it would have occurred to Ari to like hire a live-in nanny, a full-time thing. That's like not a thing that's like really common in our culture. I think that it's Benny's, like that's very common for them.
It's very common, yeah.
And
apparently it's a family friend.
There's a lot of things that we can really knock on Ari for, but that is not one of them. I just don't think so. So anyway,
I think you can knock on it.
I don't think
But
so.
not-
What is she supposed to say? No, Benny, I don't think we should get a nanny. If Benny's pushing for it and he's like, you're in Ethiopia, you're in my country, this is what we do. What's she supposed to say? It's his culture, Kyle.
It's only what they do because they have the means to do it because the parents are financing it. That's not even like a knock. I'm just saying it's not like it's only a cultural thing if you can afford it, right?
I guess. I don't know. I just think it was Benny's decision, and
I don't even care if the parents are bankrolling it short term, because if it's clearly helping her adjust and get their relationship maybe on better footing. And if I was the parents, if I thought, well, she's stressed out, it's like kind of a war zone a little bit in Ethiopia. It's COVID. We know her. She's stressed out all the time. She's going to have a meltdown and take the baby back to the U.S. and crush Biniam. And we like Biniam. So let's just help them out for a little bit. Like, I actually don't have a problem with it.
No, whatever.
But
it's also providing a job for somebody in Ethiopia, as I've said too. Like, this is providing a job for Mimi. So
to Leandro's point, is she really going to like be happy with this like forever?
No,
like,
that's a good
what is she doing all day?
Yeah. What are both of them? What are both of them doing all day?
Well, we know what he's doing. He's going out with his bros and doing music.
Do you think that had anything to do with him suggesting they get a live-in nanny? So he could go out with his bros and like stay out all night and be like,
that's a good
hey,
question.
You have a live-in nanny. You don't need my help.
Good question. Now I have even more of a problem with it.
I don't know. I'm just like speculating here, but that's what we do because it's podcasts.
Yeah.
So Leandro has left. What are we going to watch for the rest of the season?
Good question.
He leaves. She gives him a big hug until he can't breathe. And then, like, that's it. By the way, Leandro says something about Ari's belly when she hugs him. Did you catch that?
I didn't.
I was like, ooh.
What? He
I
did?
raised an eyebrow.
I didn't catch that. Do you remember, what did he say?
I didn't write it down.
Oh,
I just
okay.
made comment about Ari's belly. And I'm like, maybe it was just a joke. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Okay, I'm not going to spread lies. Spread lies. And post-departure, they have like this they're sitting on the steps. They have this, chat about Benny disappearing and staying out late with his friends. And Ari says, like, if you say that Avi and I are like your God's gifts, then can you spend more time with us and blah, blah, blah. And they seem to really love each other and kind of make amends. Is that what you took away from this?
I feel like they've had this conversation 3 or 4 times.
I know.
So we'll see.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Ellie and Victor, because this was kind of, first of all, there was a more to love scene, a bonus scene that was not in this episode, but I thought was like pretty important and was surprised that it didn't make the real episode, because it involved Ellie going down to the dock and like randomly walking onto a boat. It was like, is there anybody on this boat? Hello,
and they showed that in the first look preview.
Yes, and then they showed it. It was a bonus scene on the More to Love episode last week. So we get this, and she like talks to the captain, which, by the way, Ellie doesn't speak Spanish. It's disappointing. And she's like, Captain, can I go with you to Providencia? And he's like, well,
Capitan, vámonos.
Isla.
Conveyance de ocean.
The guy's like, well, we've been working till 11 p.m. like last night because there's total destruction on this island. But sure, random American lady, let me just drop my schedule and take you over there.
Yeah, no problem. We'll just take out 120 pounds of aid supplies and food so that you can fit on the boat.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, at a high level, do we have issues with Ellie trying to go to Providencia? Like, isn't she just another liability, another mouth to feed? Like, do they have fucking clean water over there right now? The government took over 3,000 body bags in a flight when the president went to visit the day after the hurricane. I don't understand if Ellie trying to get to a completely destructible, just like,
clearly it was destructible.
Yeah, a destructed island, in trying to find her boyfriend.
It's an excellent,
irresponsible is what I'm asking.
It's an excellent question. I think it's clearly irresponsible because, to your point, she's going to be drinking bottled water that is like getting dropped off by like the Red Cross. She of all people is not going to be able to drink if the water system's functioning at all.
Yeah.
She's not going to be able to drink that water. And if she does, she'll get sick. And then again, like you said, she's another liability.
It just, I know that we know now that she doesn't end up going, well, until next freaking episode, but Victor's on San Andreas. But I was just like, I get that you're like trying to be good and bringing, like finding clothes to bring over there. But this seems like, why didn't you ask an aid organization or something, what's the right thing to do? Should I wait here? Should I go to a place where I'm not an aid worker and I am consuming limited resources for people that they're trying to save the lives of? It just,
I don't understand what the purpose of her going with Victor at all is right now, other than like this
filming.
Weird like torture porn that they're going to show.
Yeah, I know. It is like,
it's kind of,
don't get me wrong. It's
kind of grotesque.
It is grotesque, and it's mind blowing. The preview that they show that, I have never seen anything like that.
It's one of these things that I think when it happened at the time, we didn't hear much about it.
We didn't. We heard about Honduras. We did hear about Honduras a little bit. It was on the news, but like Providencia, honestly, full disclosure, I didn't know where the hell this island was until it was on this show.
And
I
it's
really
just
didn't.
When I do wonder why. Yeah, it makes me think like when Port-au-Prince, the earthquake hit and was basically destroyed.
Yeah,
I do wonder as Americans if our bias toward helping is related to proximity.
Oh,
and maybe also government competence, because it's such it's a non-functioning state essentially now. Like maybe Colombia had its shit together and took care of business. Yeah. And it's also far away. Maybe that's why we don't hear about it. I don't know.
The fact that the Colombian president was like on a plane and landed there the day after is...
But that could also be a propaganda thing.
Sure. But it's still pretty like... It sounds like they at least took some supplies and they were trying to clean some stuff up.
They're throwing,
at least show support.
They're throwing paper towels.
Kyle, I will leave it in because that was dumb. Okay. So what did you think about this reunion? Lots of moaning.
I only have one thing I want to say before the reunion.
Okay.
Which is when she was in that clothing store, I was laughing my ass off at the mannequins.
Oh, the butts?
Oh, their butts are so big on those mannequins. That's big Colombian asses.
I like
That's
those
hilarious.
mannequins.
Yeah.
It was great. Also, like $23 for all of those clothes. Pretty.
Yeah. I have to say, I'm having a hard time with this storyline because I can't. I'm watching this whole thing and they're hugging it out and they have what looks like a sweet meeting and he seems like such a nice guy and so excited to see her. I can't divorce the
DV charges. I know.
I need. I feel like I have to. I feel like I have to know more about it. Not that it would necessarily like mean anything, but just that's all I'm thinking about. Honestly, it sucks.
I feel like they're not going to mention it again because every time that Ellie's like, I just am trying not to think about the affair, and I'm like, the affair, fuck the affair, or why aren't we talking about this DV charge? Like,
I know.
Why aren't we diving into that a bit more? And can you explain your thought process of like just ignoring that altogether?
Yeah.
Or like, how did you? It seems like she is somehow worked through the affair and we like got a little bit of that, but it doesn't seem like she's worked through this DV charge at all. We just get none of her. It doesn't
seem like she really cares. Like,
yeah.
And his explanation, all that we've gotten was that he told her, well, he walked in and she forgave him. Like, okay, what the fuck does that mean? And what does it matter if she forgave him? You should know better. That means nothing.
Also, I feel like I can't get a read on Victor.
Yeah, sure.
He's seen, and maybe it's just because this, again.
He has been through a very traumatic event, and seeing someone that I think in his mind means like safety and stability. Like, I'm sure he is super happy to see her right
Of course. Yeah. And like you said, he comes across as like a very sweet guy, and he's been through this horrible thing, which, by the way, like, she doesn't ask, and I get it's very fresh and raw, but we don't really get anything about how he survived the hurricane, except for he was at his sister's house under the sink with his sister, his mother, and her 2 kids.
It's a big sink.
I feel like he means they were under like a big kitchen kind of counter type thing that was open.
Sometimes they have like big, wide, almost like industrial, like wash tub type things too.
I think it's called a pila in Spanish. So that's what I was envisioning as well, which I'm like, how did that thing, like, they're usually on wooden legs, like,
or very shoddily attached to the wall. That thing could fall. Yeah.
I was like, ooh, that sounds dangerous too. But I mean, I'm glad he and his family are all okay.
Of course.
Don't get me wrong. But I need like 10 times more details about this whole entire situation. And I agree with you. It was hard for me to watch it.
It's the only thing I'm thinking about the whole time.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, I was mad that they didn't show us this captain boat convo, but you can see it in the bonus scenes. It basically was, hey, are you going to go to Providencia? Well, we've been working around the clock, ma'am, and so we're taking the night off, but we're leaving at 4:30 a.m. Great, I'll be here at 4:30. I hope she went back to that freaking captain and let him know, not going to be on your boat. Don't wait for me as you're bringing aid supplies to a freaking island that's like completely destroyed.
I highly doubt they waited.
I hope they didn't.
Yeah.
I really hope they didn't wait for her. I don't know what else to say about this. They go back to the hotel and probably
this whole thing was a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else? Final thoughts?
I thought it was a good episode. It made me feel anger.
It did make me feel it. That's feeling something. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. Steven is an idiot. Alina's naive. And Evelyn's not ride or die. Corey is a lying, annoying, extra douchebag.
Kenny and Armando just make our hearts
and
sore.
Yeah, I hope they have the wedding of the century.
I do think Steven and Alina, I know a lot of people have said they don't like Steven, but they're giving us a lot to talk about. I think that they have more to talk about than any other couple right now.
And I don't think Alina is unlikable. She's just very young.
Yeah.
And naive. And on the other hand, she does poke some holes in Steven's bullshit, which I appreciated.
I really like the way that she is not afraid to kind of clap back.
Right.
In a very like pointed way for a 20-year-old. I would not have been able to be that articulate as a 20-year-old at all. So good for her. I know some people are struggling with this season of Toe. I wish I had like intel for you as to when another season is coming, but I just don't until January. We know we've gotten inside intel that probably another season of OG season 9 is coming in January.
So
we're always wrong about this.
So I'll make the announcement right now. Look, Life After Lockup, it fucking sucks.
Okay, we're going here. Okay.
I'm not saying we're stopping covering it. All I'm saying is the entire internet is talking about that it sucks.
Yeah.
It's fake. It's not believable. I hate everybody. Caribbean Love just ended.
Yeah.
Darcy and Stacey's got like probably one more episode.
I think it's the finale this week, yeah.
Plathville is like, it's still compelling, but it's like 15 minutes of talking.
Yeah.
I will say right now that I'm down to cover Family Chantel.
What?
Because people are really excited about it. We need something to cover.
Okay, let's put a caveat in there. If we get through 3 episodes of Family Chantel and you hate your life,
well, we have to have something else to cover.
Then we won't force feed it to you.
We'll figure it out, but
okay.
I'm willing to try it.
Okay. I mean, there is a lot. Like, we have a lot to catch up on for B-sides. We have 2 episodes of Lockup. We have 2 episodes of Bears All.
We got a little backup to get through.
We have Plathville. But, I mean, it's, Family Chantel's still 3 or 4 weeks away.
Yeah.
So, okay. Cool. Well, you heard
It's
it.
a deal.
That's what we're doing for Patreon. For those of you who are interested, you can go to
The
realitycraycray.com for that.
The preview looks absurd.
It looks really silly. And somebody said, we're getting away from, oh, everybody hates Pedro. Apparently last season was hilarious. It was like Pedro partying with a bunch of what's-her-face's friends in the Philippines. And he just like went to the club while Family Chantel was like fighting amongst themselves. So I would have enjoyed that, I think. Now we're still like speculating that Pedro slept with Coraima from like 3 years ago. Seriously? It just sounds dumb. And I'm here for anything that's dumb.
Again, as you said the other day, or did you say it this morning? I don't remember. You guys, we fucking talk about Darcy and Stacy, okay? So, like, the bar, we've already established what the bar is.
The dumb shit is just so relaxing.
It's a good
for
refresher,
me.
like, especially when we have to talk about life after lockup. Like, to pivot to dummy dum.
I watched both of those lockup episodes this weekend, and it was rough. It's rough.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening, guys. Hang with it. You know, Toe's got some interesting scenes. And if you don't want to watch it, just listen to the podcast. We'll give you the highlights.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.